Congratulations on your purchase of the Millermatic 350P aluminum Synergic welding system. And thanks for choosing Miller. With your Millermatic 350P aluminum, you can count on years of simplicity, productivity, and real-time control for aluminum welding. Before we begin, please take a few minutes to review important safety information and tips for the Millermatic 350P aluminum. And remember to wear appropriate safety gear during setup and welding. Now let's get started. First, we'll cover a quick overview of the Millermatic 350P aluminum's key features and how they simplify and improve welding for high-speed industrial aluminum applications. Next, we'll demonstrate how to properly set up the Millermatic 350P aluminum using MIG, our new Synergic MIG, and Pulse MIG welding modes. To simplify setup and operation, the Millermatic 350P aluminum features an intuitive digital display to help troubleshoot common operating errors. For further assistance, a reference guide with help codes is located behind the front drop-down cover. A helpful troubleshooting guide is also located in your owner's manual. Let's begin with a quick overview of the Millermatic 350P aluminum's key features. Features that make the Millermatic 350P aluminum the best all-in-one system for feeding, starting, and welding aluminum. It begins with the easy-to-use interface, which has been re-engineered to make the Millermatic 350P aluminum extremely simple to learn, set up, and operate. The Millermatic 350P aluminum is also loaded with performance features that optimize aluminum welding. It features a true torque feed motor with a synchronized push-pull design. Designed for the unique challenges of aluminum wire, the drive motor delivers a continuous push force to the wire, while the gun motor controls speed of the wire. Both motors work together to provide accurate positive wire feed speed and deliver hours and hours of continuous trouble-free welding. The Millermatic 350P aluminum's Synergic MIG and Pulse MIG modes make long weldments easier than ever before. The Synergic system provides reliable, real-time communication between the power source, feed system, and the gun to ensure it delivers the right amount of power right where you need it. Just decrease the wire feed speed to weld thinner material and increase to weld thicker material. It's almost like the Millermatic 350P aluminum does the thinking for you. Other upgraded features include the Trigger Schedule Select, which allows you to change between two pre-programmed weld settings with a quick tap of the gun trigger. Changes from hot to cool or pulse to MIG, it's instant, easy, and accurate. The Trigger Hold feature locks in weld consistency, which increases welder comfort. It's like a cruise control for your gun. There are also two new machine setup features on the Millermatic 350P aluminum. One is a purge feature that allows you to set and adjust the gas flow without energizing the welding output. The second is a wire jog for a convenient and safe way to load and feed wire at the machine without energizing the welding output. Now, let's take a look at the basic operation of your Millermatic 350P aluminum system. The Millermatic 350P aluminum is a 300-amp, 32-volt DC 60% duty cycle welder. It's designed to work on either single-phase or three-phase, 208, 230, or 460 input voltage. It comes with a 4-wire power cord connected to the unit, which connects to three-phase power. If you want to connect the unit to single-phase power, the red wire will need to be tied back properly and a single-phase plug installed. Refer to the label on the power cord or your owner's manual for proper installation. The Millermatic 350P aluminum is designed to work with the XR AlumaPro, the AlumaPro Lite, the XR Pistol Grip, or Miller Python push-pull guns. To connect the gun, first make sure your machine is powered off. Loosen the gun securing knob on the drive assembly in the machine. Plug the gun into the receptacle opening. Make sure your gun is seated all the way into the drive casting and tighten the securing knob. Next, thread the trigger cable into the gun receptacle in the front of the machine and tighten the threaded collar. Now, route the work cable through the front panel opening. Slide the boot onto the work cable. Connect the cable to the negative output terminal and cover the connection with the boot. Now the machine is set to DCEP, or electrode positive. Your Millermatic 350P aluminum is designed for external gas cylinders. Before connecting your system to an external cylinder, securely fasten the cylinder to a running gear, wall, or other stationary support. To attach the gas to your machine, remove the cap and stand to the side of the valve. Open the valve slightly to allow the gas to blow away any dust or dirt from the valve. Install the regulator so that the face is vertical. Connect the hose to the regulator and then to your machine. Tighten the fittings with a wrench. Next, adjust the flow. Remember that a typical flow rate is 20 to 30 CFH. The Millermatic 350P aluminum is shipped with 3/64 drive roll installed and extra sets of 040 or 035 U-grooved drive rolls for feeding aluminum wire. If a different wire diameter is being used, make sure to change the drive rolls to match the wire being used. Also, check to make sure that the top and bottom drive rolls are a matching set. To install the drive rolls, open the upper drive arm assembly. First, remove the existing drive rolls by removing the screws with a 5/16 wrench. To properly install the top drive roll, position the supplied plastic washers on each side of the roll. Place into the upper drive assembly. Install the screw and tighten. Then install the lower drive roll and screw, then tighten. Maxell brand aluminum wire is recommended for optimum feedability, consistency, and integrity. The wire feeds from the top of the spool, which helps eliminate inconsistent arc length and drag. To thread, unspool 8 to 12 inches of wire. Snip and straighten the wire, and slide the wire into the inlet guide. The angled drive assembly will eliminate kinking and optimize feeding of aluminum wire. Refer to the system setup located inside the wire drive compartment to set the drive roll tension in the machine to match the welding wire being used. Now, turn on the machine with the power switch located on the front panel. Push the jog switch above the wire drive assembly, or pull the trigger of the gun to allow the wire to feed. Make sure the wire travels to the barrel of the gun and feeds out the end. Close the gun cover, and remember to select the contact tip that matches your wire diameter. Reinstall the proper contact tip and the nozzle. Next, set the wire tension on the gun to match the alloy of the aluminum wire being used. When correctly set up, the tip will be recessed 1/8 inch. Now, let's set up the Millermatic 350P aluminum to weld. We'll start with a quick overview of the interface panel. The Setup button to the left of the controls shows the gun types and selects the welding process, wire, and timer menus. Simply push the Setup button to display the menu options. The left knob controls process, wire alloy, and different timers depending on which menu is active in the setup mode. The right knob controls wire diameter and timer settings depending on which menu is active in the setup mode. The arc control button on the right allows you to customize the arc cone with sharp arc in the pulse MIG and inductance in the MIG modes. The trigger hold button allows you to make long, extended welds without having to hold the trigger. To set up the Millermatic 350P aluminum for welding, simply tap the gun trigger, and the Millermatic 350P aluminum will recognize and select the gun automatically. Or to manually select a gun, push the Setup button and scroll through and select the gun that you are using. Push the Setup button. Next, select the weld process for your aluminum application. Rotate the left control knob to select the MIG, Synergic Mig, or Pulse MIG mode. Push the Setup button again. Now you can select the wire type. Rotate the left control knob to set the machine for either AL5000 series or AL4000 series aluminum wire. Rotate the right control knob to choose 035, 040, or 3/64 wire. Next, press the Setup button once again to display the timer menu. Select your run-in speed, which is the speed of the wire prior to the welding arc being struck. This setting is shown as a percentage of the wire feed speed the unit is set to for welding. Standard run-in speed is 50%. You can select any run-in from 25% to 150%. Next, to select a pre-flow time, rotate the left control knob. Pre-flow time controls how long the shielding gas begins flowing after you pull the trigger and the machine begins to weld. The range of this setting is from off to 5 seconds. Rotate the left control knob again to select post-flow time. Post-flow time determines how long the gas flows after you stop welding. This parameter can be set anywhere from off to 10 seconds. To select the spot timer setting, again rotate the left control knob. With the spot timer, you can control the amount of time that the arc is active before it shuts off automatically. The timer can be set from off to 120 seconds. When you pull the gun trigger, the machine will start welding and stop at your selected setting. The spot timer will be reset upon release of the welding gun trigger. Rotate the left control knob to display the trigger hold menu. The trigger hold is the minimum amount of time the trigger must be held for the trigger hold to become active. The hold can be set from 0 to 10 seconds. The trigger hold window is always 4 seconds after the trigger hold delay. For example, if the trigger hold delay is set to 2 seconds, the trigger hold window will be from 2 to 6 seconds. Rotating the left knob one last time will get you to the display mode setting. This setting will allow the right meters to display either amps or wire feed speed while welding. The default setting for the machine is amps. If wire feed speed is desired, rotate the right control knob to select WFS. Push the Setup button once again to enter the welding mode. Now we will quickly cover setup for specific welding processes. The Trigger Schedule Select is an advanced feature that allows you to change between 2 sets of weld parameters. To activate the Trigger Select feature, simultaneously press both the blue Setup and Arc control buttons. Rotate the left control to select SCHD. Rotate the right control to select TRIG. Now, push the Setup button or pull the trigger to return to the main menu. Now, set your second weld parameter, or Schedule B. Quickly pull and release or tap the gun trigger to illuminate the Schedule B indicator located on the top left side of the front panel. Since you already know what gun, wire type, and diameter you're using, push the Setup button to select Process. Rotate the left control knob to select Pulse MIG, Synergic MIG, or MIG Welding mode. Then, push the Setup button to return to Weld mode. Rotate the left knob to set voltage for MIG modes or arc length for pulse. Rotate the right knob for wire feed speed. Note, for Schedule B, the wire feed speed is set using the right control knob on the power source, not the gun. Now that you've set your Schedule B parameters, simply tap the trigger to toggle between the two programs. To set up the machine for MIG Welding mode, press the Setup button to go to Gun Selection. Rotate the right knob to select the gun being used. Press the Setup button a second time to illuminate the process light. Rotate the left control knob until MIG is displayed. Press the Setup button again to illuminate the wire light. Adjust the left knob to select the wire type and adjust the right knob to select the wire diameter. Press the Setup button again to exit the wire menu and enter the Timer menu. The timer light will illuminate. If necessary, adjust your run-in, pre- and post-flow as covered earlier. Press the Setup button again. This will save your parameters in the system, exit the menus, and enter the MIG Welding mode. Refer to the MIG Welding parameter chart for the proper voltage and wire speed setting for the aluminum thickness being welded, and fine-tune from there. To adjust the width of the arc cone to your preference, press the Arc Control button until INDU appears on the left display. The corresponding numerical setting will appear on the right display. The higher the setting, the wider the welding arc. The lower the setting, the thinner and stiffer the cone will become. Use the Synergic Mig Mode if you want added control without the pulse process. To set up the machine for Synergic MIG Welding mode, press the Setup button to go to Gun Selection. Rotate the right knob to select the gun being used. Press Setup a second time to illuminate the process light. Rotate the left control knob until SNRG is displayed. Press the Setup button again to illuminate the wire light. Adjust the left knob to select wire type and adjust the right knob to select the wire diameter. Press the Setup button again to exit the wire menu and enter the Timer menu. The timer light will illuminate. If necessary, adjust your run-in, pre- and post-flow as covered earlier. Press the Setup button again, and this will save your parameters in the system, exit the menus, and enter the MIG Welding mode. To weld different thicknesses, you will only have to change wire feed speed, and the voltage will track to the desired arc. However, the operator still has the ability to fine-tune the voltage for their application. This is done by rotating the left control knob. When the operator turns the knob to increase the voltage higher than the preset voltage, a dash will appear in the top left corner of the left display. This indicates that the present voltage is higher than the preset. The same is true if the voltage is turned lower than the preset voltage. At this time, the dash will appear in the bottom left corner of the left display. To get back to the preset voltage setting, rotate the left control knob until either dash disappears. To adjust the width of the arc cone to your preference, press the Arc Control button until INDU appears on the left display. The corresponding numerical setting will appear on the right display. The higher the setting, the wider the welding arc. The lower the setting, the thinner and stiffer the cone will become. To set up the machine for Pulse MIG Welding mode, press the Setup button to go to Gun Selection. Rotate the right knob to select the gun being used. Press Setup a second time to illuminate the process light. Rotate the left control knob until PULS is displayed. Press the Setup button again to illuminate the wire light. Adjust the left knob to select wire type and adjust the right knob to select the wire diameter. Press the Setup button again to exit the wire menu and enter the Timer menu. The timer light will illuminate. If necessary, adjust your run-in, pre- and post-flow as covered earlier. Press the Setup button again. This will save your parameters in the system, exit the menus, and enter the Pulse MIG Welding mode. Refer to the Pulse MIG Welding parameter chart for the proper wire speed setting for the aluminum thickness being welded. To weld different thicknesses, you only have to change your wire feed speed on the handle of the gun, and the Synergic output will handle the rest. This eliminates having to go back to the machine to change output, which results in increased productivity. In the Synergic Pulse mode, you can also adjust your arc length and arc cone characteristics. This allows you to fine-tune the arc to the values you prefer and the needs of your aluminum application. Adjusting the arc length will vary the length of the welding arc cone. To change the arc length, adjust the left control knob. The arc length default setting is 50, but it can be set from 0 to 99. Lowering the number will shorten the distance between the end of the arc and the workpiece. Increasing the number lengthens the distance. Sharp arc will allow you to optimize the characteristic of the arc cone. The sharp arc default setting is 25, but it can be set from 0 to 50. Lowering the number will widen the arc, and increasing the number tightens the arc. Our Pulse MIG process with Synergic output control provides simplicity and puddle control to give you the ability to weld thinner materials. Pulse welding reduces heat input into the part that you're welding to reduce burn-through and warping. Its unique ability to provide reliable, real-time communication between the power source, feeder, and gun delivers the right amount of power right where you need it. That covers the main setup and operating features of the Millermatic 350P aluminum, the dedicated aluminum welding system with superior simplicity, streamlined efficiency, and on-demand weld performance. Please refer to your owner's manual and MillerWelds.com for a wealth of other helpful information. Good luck and good welding!